feminism started because they had to ask for equal rights, for equal pay. They wanted their voting right. They wanted to go out there and just work and be treated equally and receive similar opportunities. It's all about equity. And there's still a lot of work to do, a lot of work. And I believe through that campaign, I'm continuing that legacy because I just want to pave the road for more women to live their dreams and achieve their goals, no matter what.
Yeah, and I think it's very important to be able to do that and still be you. What you find is a lot of these really powerful women who have been accepted have had to slightly tweak their characters and be very intimidating and be very, to reach that CEO role or whatever, that people have to be scared of them to show them respect. And that shouldn't be the case. Do you know what I mean?
It's not fear, it's compassion.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to introduce you to my management company, run by two very amazing women.
I met her today.
You did? Who did you meet?
Jessica.
Jessica's
what
my girl.
What a nice lady.
Yeah.
A very nice woman.
Yeah, so those two, definitely, welcome to the family. So yeah, they're the kind of people you need on board. Can you change the videos on the GoFundMe?
I can.
Because I might be able to help you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so basically what we'll do is we'll get a clip now of me going, you'll never do it, you're a woman.
And
then everyone will hate me, and they'll be like, I'll show him she'll never do it, and then just donate loads of money really quickly just to make me look like an idiot. And then
that's a good idea.
It's very easy, yeah. I don't think
idea.
You've got what it sounds like a man thing to do what you're doing.
Yeah, you can't do it.
Yeah, you can't do it, man.
You can't raise the money.
You can't do it. Guys, welcome to the show. Tima Deryan AKA, is it Deryan?
Deryan, مظبوط.
The Mountain Gypsy.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good, and you?
How was your what's it called? I don't know what I'm talking about. I was going to ask you about something that I realized I asked you before, so it makes no sense asking you again. So let me just start by congratulating you on your engagement.
Thank you very much. You've done your research, I see.
Of course. Well, the guy did that was seeing other. No, yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
What's your husband's name? Your fiance's name?
Kamal.
Kamal. I want to talk to Kamal.
I like how did we start this conversation about my partner? I thought I'm here to discuss about motivation, what I do, how I made it to Everest, my next. Your partner. Come on.
I'll tell you why. I want to have a personal conversation with Kamal. Kamal. Guys are supposed to uplift each other and support each other. You single-handedly ruined every proposal coming in the future to now. So for those of you guys who don't know, would you like to tell us how he proposed to you in zero gravity, floating in space?
Okay, so now we're talking about Kamal. Interesting. So Kamal used to be in NASA.
Okay.
And
as you do.
And then he had a career shift, but he's very much into space. And it happened that I was in the space show, the Astronaut, and I was competing, and I got more into space, and he was teaching me more about space. So it just happened that it was a lot of space during that period, and we were doing a trip around the US, and he planned a zero-G flight, and I didn't know even about it. It was beautiful, so we went on a parabolic flight. You get on it, there's few seats at the back and just empty space in the front, and it flies over the ocean. But what happens is it goes, he would explain it much better, so it goes really down fast, and then during those moments when it's going back up again, you start experiencing zero gravity. So after doing it around 10 to 12 times, he tells me he needs to tell me something, and then obviously we're floating because you have to wait on the ground when it's going down, and when it's going up you float. So we were down. He's like, I need to tell you something, and then he takes out the ring, and yeah, he proposed in zero-G
in space. Now, for all of you gentlemen out there that thought proposing outside of Zata Rosette was going to be your next option, I'd like to now let you know that's definitely not good enough, especially if your fiance has Instagram. So well done, Kamal, well done. I guess, well done. Now, enough about Kamal. It's time to talk about you. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
How's everything? I'm very good, and I'm glad to have you on the show.
I'm very happy to be here. I have very good vibes. Heck, it feels like I know you already.
Do you know what's actually funny? we initially had contact when I first started the show. You were potentially going to be my third or fourth guest.
Oh, wow. We did?
A friend of mine, Kevin Abdurrahman,
Yeah.
I told him, I saw that he did something with you. I was like, I want this girl on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, cool, let me send an email and connect you guys.
Yeah.
He sent the email. I saw it, didn't reply. You saw it, didn't reply.
Maybe it went to my spams or
Maybe.
like, I never ignore
Yeah,
emails.
and I was like, well, if she's not replying, I'm not replying. And then nothing from there. So you see, if it's meant to happen, it will happen.
No matter
and you're
what.
back now. Yeah. Tell me, what? Let's talk about the shift.
Yeah.
Your career shift. What takes you from being in, I believe it was finance, right?
It was.
Every Lebanese mother's dream.
Father.
Yeah, or father. Yeah. What takes you from being that to going, I want to climb some of the tallest mountains in the world?
Curiosity, definitely. So I've always been into adventure. I've always been into the outdoors and fitness, and I just enjoy exploring. I have a lot of passion towards exploring. And when I was 14 years old, I traveled with my family on an adventure trip to Nepal, and we flew over Everest. And then while in the airplane, they were explaining what Everest is, and it's the tallest mountain on Earth, and so on. And I'm like, I want to climb this mountain one day. It seems it's doable, and it
You're like,
looks
it doesn't
scary.
look that tall. He's like,
And
yeah,
I-
because you're on top of it.
So we came down. I got this certificate that says you did not climb Everest, you flew over Everest. So I'm just like, I don't like this. Sure, I did not climb. I want to climb. I want to fly and climb. And I'm like, anyway, one day. Fast forward 10 years into it, I totally forgot about the fact that I want to climb Everest. And I was at uni. I was more into scuba diving. I was getting my skydiving license. I was into fitness. I was active. I was always active. And then when I graduated, I got a job with an international company, and I started my finance/marketing career. And خلاص, I'm ticking the boxes, done, the career, and now I need to climb the hierarchy. But then we had this event once, and they got a motivational speaker, and I was there. And he started sharing his experience about Everest and how he climbed Everest. And everybody in the audience was very emotional about his experience. And there's me like, it's doable. Why is everybody super emotional? And then he finished, and I went up to him and I said, I want to climb Everest. He's like, anybody can climb it if they really want to. But a lot of people come up to me and say, I want to climb Everest, but they don't. But I'm like, but I've always wanted to climb it. And that dream just woke up again. Like that 10 years ago, I said, I'm going to climb it. So I looked up all the details, and it seemed impossible when I knew it needs 2 months. It needs around $55,000. It needs a lot of training. You got to be on another mountain. There's so much happening to climb Everest. I'm like, okay, I need to slow down because I don't even know if I'm going to like climbing or not. So I signed up for the first mountain to climb, and it happened to be Elbrus, the highest mountain in Europe. And it was at 5,642 meters.
Is that in Scotland?
Russia.
Russia, okay.
Mm-hmm. And I did really well. I just felt like my body was actually made for the mountains. And I was going through that time of where you question yourself, what am I doing with my life? And I just came back like a transformed person, a calmer one, and somebody who's way more focused and less impulsive. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to continue doing this. I'm going to invest in the equipment, and I'm going to climb Everest. I think I can definitely do it. And I kept on training until I made it there.
Wow. I mean, this is one thing I wanted to ask you, because it's not a cheap hobby to have.
Definitely.
Climbing
not.
mountains.
No.
I was going to climb Kilimanjaro
Mm-hmm.
until they told me how much it costs. And I was like, I'm just going to go to Zanzibar and chill on the beach because I'm not paying that much money to go up a mountain, especially when I'm doing all the work. What am I paying you for? Do you know what I mean? One thing that you didn't know that we do have in common is that we've both summited Everest.
You've summited Mount Everest?
You are the youngest Arab girl.
Mm-hmm.
I was the youngest Arab male and the fastest ascension, part of the Guinness World Records. It's up for dispute because it was on the Stairmaster at the gym.
Like, I'm like, hang on, I
It's the same
I'm
thing.
sure
There
you-
is no difference. I climbed Everest faster than you. I was in the gym on the
It doesn't count.
Stairmaster.
It doesn't count.
Why is yours
It
any
does
better than
not
mine?
count.
Why is yours any better than mine? My
Because-
Stairmaster said that
No,
I did it
no.
pretty much almost the fastest in the world.
Sorry, AJ, it does not count.
Doesn't count?
بالعكس, I want to congratulate you for this great achievement.
Right? This is
And I
what
swear,
people don't do.
I know. I'm looking at you. I'm like, how do I not know?
You know how
about
hard
him?
it was. You know how hard it was for me to keep a straight face.
exactly.
Because in these kind of communities, people know who's done what. Right?
Exactly.
So I could see you going, I didn't read this anywhere, and nobody WhatsApped me.
Not
The
only
youngest
that,
Arab
I
male.
swear I was about to open my phone and open
Yeah,
the
and look at the
database.
list.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
where
yeah.
is his name? How do I not know?
No, I wish there was a
Good
person
one.
called AJ.
Good
on there.
one.
But look, it is quite an achievement to do it on the Stairmaster. It's a lot of days.
How many days did it take you to finish it?
I did it over the span of 2 years, but it still counts. You know, like
I
one
don't
of those
think-
memes
look, I
on,
would-
on Instagram where they say, I'm going to tell my kids this was Everest, that kind of thing. Okay, so let's talk about Everest. Because a lot of people do base camp and say,
Correct.
I climbed Everest. No, you didn't.
How did you climb to the summit or did you do base camp?
Do you know
Which
what I
one
mean?
did you do?
Do you know what I mean? Like, because base camp is not Everest.
Definitely, I was living on base camp. Look, when it comes to base camp, it's at 5,340 meters. So it is high, and anybody can go up there if they have the right amount of training and the right experience. They definitely get up there, and it takes about 10 to 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks. And yeah, anybody can do it. It's not super easy, but it's not tough at all because you're basically hiking through villages on altitude. But going to the top of the world is definitely something. It's not easy. We're talking about altitude, something you didn't have on your Stairmasters. We're talking about
Well,
minus
I was
40.
wearing an altitude mask. You know those guys in the gym and they're wearing that mask that looks so stupid but does
count.
nothing whatsoever.
Exactly.
I trained in that for a year once until somebody told me, you know, that does nothing for you, right?
Exactly.
And then
It
I was
just
like, yeah, but it
suffocates you.
looks cool as hell.
It just suffocates
Yeah,
you.
but I look like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, so it was amazing. Okay.
So yeah, there's the altitude factor and then there's the climate factor. It's really cold, so it can drop below minus 40, and sometimes on base camp it goes minus 15, minus 20, and we're just sleeping there. So base camp is home. In one of my videos, you can see me setting up my tent, and it was just home because it was gonna be home for the next 40 days, where I go out for like a week and come back, rest, and go again because we do rotations on Everest. So it really had to have that homey feel. I had those small bulbs. I had like
You had
nice
a little
scent.
dream catcher on the zip on in front of the
I had
tent,
my
yeah.
prayer flags. I had it all there. But yeah, it's definitely difficult. I mean, you're living in a very remote area, and there's glacier that's moving under you. You can hear the cracks, and then in the middle of the night, there's about 3 avalanches, and at night you just don't know what can happen. You're in the outdoors. You're in the wild. So it's definitely an experience that I would never forget. And it's different than any other mountain because I was there for legit 2 months. But yeah, it's definitely more difficult than Stairmasters. Let's put it that way.
DK, what's more difficult, Stairmaster Everest or real life Everest? I'd like to know. Okay, here's another thing, because you talk about it very kind of like, it was, you know, anyone can do it, blah, blah, blah. But there are people who have literally died on Everest. A lot of people. Like, I've heard stories of people walking past
Yep.
and then looking and someone going, no, don't worry, that's Tom. He died last month. Because they're not going to move them from there.
Not
Do you know what I mean?
I clipped into a dead body.
Really? See, this is what I want to know.
Yeah. So while going from
You
camp,
clipped as in you clipped onto him.
because there's fixed ropes and we have to clip our carabiners into the fixed ropes so we don't slip and die on the slopes. And on those fixed ropes, there was a body that was hanging. And then I had to clip right next to it to wait because...
So you thought, since he's just hanging around, I'm going to use this dead guy and clip
No,
onto him
that's
as a
not,
ledge.
don't put it that way. Don't put it that way.
Dude, have a heart, man.
He was...
You were like, hey guys, just come clip here, it's fine. He's not busy.
No, that's not true. So
okay.
he was just in the middle of the way,
Wow.
and like you need to clip, and it happened that I had to stop and clip right next to him.
Wow.
But then
And you knew he was dead.
no, it was mind games, because the last thing you want to think about is this guy was doing the exact same thing that I'm doing right now, and I can be there. So I think this is just equipment. Somebody just left their equipment here.
So you're tricking yourself
Yeah.
mentally.
No, yeah. So there's buddy system, right? So I was with my Sherpa all the time, and he looked at me. He's like, "That buddy." And I was just
Normal
like,
for
"No,
him.
no, no. This is
Yeah,
equipment.
yeah.
It's equipment.
Sled. It's a sled,
Exactly,
yeah.
a sled. It's equipment." And I just continued, and I like made it a point not to think about it, although it was really hard. But up there with the oxygen mask on, and there's so much happening, you're just too focused, and I
Had to
did
do
stop thinking about it. But yeah, during my season, 11 people did die.
Wow. Young people who are...
Yep.
Is this something you thought about before you went up there? Was it something that you were like, there is a potential that I might not?
I mean, I had this conversation with my family before
Yeah.
I go. I mean, I said, look, this is a 50-50 thing. And it was a tough conversation, but it's reality. I said, thank you for allowing me to do this. And it might sound selfish, but this is my passion. And thank you for understanding. But you also need to understand that I might not come back. And if I don't, you shouldn't be upset because I'm doing what I love. But I promise not to take any a risk or just do something that I'm not supposed to do. Because I did turn around on one of the mountains before because I knew I'm putting myself at risk. So I'm not going to do anything crazy. And yeah, I actually think about these things on the mountain. Although I'm extremely... When I want something, I would do whatever it takes to take it.
You said that to your parents.
Yeah.
And they're Arab.
They are.
Because if I said that to my mum, Mama, thank you so much. It's 50-50. I won't come back. She'd be like, تعال هون تعال روح اجلس الجلية تعال شو 50-50.
لا
كل المصاري اللي سلفت. All the money I spent on you growing up, you're going to go and die now on a mountain. I want my money back first before you go.
لا, my mom is extremely supportive. She's like, you're not going to die. Nothing's going to happen. I believe in you.
Wow. Okay, let's talk about the death zone. So if you want to explain that to people.
So when we say altitude, what we're talking about is basically as we go higher, above 3,000 meters, the oxygen gets scattered in the air. So you start inhaling less oxygen, you take in less, and the pressure starts increasing. So it's exactly what happens to potato chips, let's say, on the airplane. So, you know, when you get up on 29,000 feet and the chips is about to explode, same thing happens to the body if we don't properly acclimatize to the altitude.
Like getting the bends underwater.
So after 3,000, the altitude starts, and this is where we start acclimatizing. So acclimatization is the process where you climb high for about, let's say, 500 meters, but then you come back down to, let's say, like 200, 300 meters less, and you sleep there. And then the next day, you climb a little bit higher and sleep a little bit lower. And in that way, your body is now producing more red blood cells, and you're able to be able to climb on altitude. You're doing less effort than you're supposed to do. So in the death zone, it starts after 8,000 meters because the oxygen level is about 40% there, and 40% is...
It's not suitable for humans. Yeah.
No, we're not supposed to be there. And every little step is extremely difficult. I mean, you take one step and you're just like panting.
Really?
Like 3 steps, and like when there's an ice wall that you need to climb, and then it's exhausting. And sometimes you just stand there and think like, what am I doing with my life? Like, do I really need to be doing this? But then you look around and then you say, I'm really lucky to be here because not a lot of people get to see what I'm literally seeing right now. It's beautiful up there. The death zone is somewhere where humans are not supposed to be, but I climbed on oxygen. So there are some superhumans who can go into the death zone without oxygen, and like amazing thing that they can do. But I started using my oxygen tank after 7,400 meters.
All the way to the top?
All the way to the top.
I think I reached the death zone on the Stairmaster when I was there, but I didn't use oxygen. I think I must be one of those superhumans. What about the Sherpas?
I mean, the Sherpas are
They
everything.
must be
Okay, so Everest has became more of a commercial mountain. I say anybody can climb Everest because if you put a lot of money... So I went with one of the cheapest expeditions because I've trained myself enough to take care of myself. So the support that I have wasn't like I had a bed on. Some people had beds, some people had like big kitchens, and like it was different. It was fancy. But yeah, the Sherpas are everything on the mountain. Without the Sherpas, none of us would be able to climb it unless we're like super alpinist. They're the ones. So every climber has a Sherpa, and there are few climbers who climbed without the Sherpas and they didn't make it back down.
Wow.
And that's why you need a buddy system, just like any other sport, in my opinion.
Yeah. Is that because they feel like they're experienced, or they're like me and trying to save a bit of money on paying Sherpas? Just be like, I'll be fine.
That's one. And two, it's the ego. There's a lot of ego on the mountain. I mean, I can do it without this, without that, but sometimes you can kill yourself. I mean, one of the guys who was climbing without oxygen died on the mountain because he wasn't ready to do it without oxygen.
And you won't share your oxygen, right?
No.
If it was a situation where you'd be like, should have brought your oxygen. I told you to bring your oxygen. I've got like 5 puffs left and I'm not giving it to you.
Imagine I do that. But I mean, there's a question of ethics a lot on the mountain, especially in the death zone. Like I saw somebody struggling, I'm not gonna lie, and he was right in front of me. And he had his oxygen and he had his Sherpa, and his Sherpa was begging him to go back down. But then there's me behind him stuck, and it's minus 40. It's like, I think 11 a.m. at night, 11 p.m. at night. And the guy is panting, and he still wants to continue. But at the same, I'm just like, do I
Yalla baba, I don't have time for this stuff. I'm actually dying too.
Exactly. And I'm just like, no. Like, no, you're putting me at risk. Like, it's already risky. Just move. Move. And let me go. And that's exactly what was happening. We were just like overtaking people on the rope because there's one fixed rope to the summit. You're always clipped on the rope.
So then you clipped onto him and then went past him up to the thing, right?
No, I just unclipped and like did a quick move and then clipped after him.
That's incredible, dude. And I think I read somewhere that if they count the amount of times a Sherpa goes up and down Everest compared to a normal person, it's like an insane number.
Yeah.
Because they go up, they come back down, get someone else, and then they go up and they come back down. And
I mean, Sherpas are like, the mountain is their home, and some of them were born at 4,000 meters. So when it comes to altitude and Sherpas, they are superhumans because they've been living on this.
Their body is developed to do that.
Exactly. And when they go to the summit and come back, and they're the ones who put the fixed ropes to the top of the summit. And when you're putting fixed ropes, that's a lot of work. It's not easy. You're on icy slopes where you have to put the ropes and fix it, and it's a lot of work. So they're the one who does that. They open the road, and there's the icefall doctors where they put if you've seen the stainless steel ladders that we cross on Everest, they're the one who fix the road and open it up for all the other climbers. And for example, my Sherpa would use less oxygen than I do. After 7,400 meters, he was still without an oxygen, and he's like, I don't need it now. And
He's
I
just
took it
light
out.
a cigarette. He's like, I'm fine. I'm okay.
Speaking about lighting a cigarette, on summit day, the sun was rising, and I was changing my oxygen tank, and my Sherpa was doing the same thing. And I look at the side, and I see there's a Sherpa who's changing his client's oxygen tank, but there's a cigarette in his mouth at 8,400 meters. And I looked at him, I'm like, are you serious?
No, but he's smart because it's so cold that the cigarette would last 3 times as long because the fire wouldn't burn so much. So he was like, he was going to smoke it at the bottom, but he was like, this 20 pack can last me much longer if I start smoking it at 7,000 feet. See, these Sherpas, they know what they're doing.
No, yeah. They're really strong, and there's a lot of respect to Sherpas. They do a lot, and they really enjoy taking people up there. They have this sense of joy and blessing when they get to the summit and help somebody achieve their dream.
That's crazy. But Everest isn't the tallest mountain in the world, right? K2 is taller.
No, Everest is the tallest.
Everest is the tallest?
Everest is at 8,848 meters. K2 is 8,600 something. I haven't climbed it yet, so I don't have to know the number.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know. I could be wrong. So what is your favorite mountain that you've climbed so far? Is it Everest, or do you have something, the experience that was better?
I get asked this question a lot, actually, and I never know how to answer it. Like, when it comes to a favorite, every continent has something different, and there's a different vibe to it, and the culture. It's not just the mountain that I'm climbing. You get to the city, and you meet a lot of people. You meet the locals, and then you get on the mountain, and the mountain vibe is different, and there's no one favorite mountain. I think every expedition had its special twist that made it a favorite.
Yeah, I get that answer a lot because a lot of people, because I spent a lot of time traveling around the world, and everyone says to me, what's your favorite country that you went to? But everywhere has its own charms or its own event that happened there that kind of gives it its own special place in your heart kind of thing, separate to the other ones.
Very true.
Is there any time where you went for a mountain where you mentally thought you were ready, but it was a lot more difficult than you thought, or you thought it was going to be difficult, but then you were like, are we done already? What's happening?
Yeah, the first one actually. I went way overconfident. So it was my second mountain, Aconcagua, and it's the highest mountain in South America. It's 6,962 meters, and in Argentina is way closer to the equator, so the pressure is way different than Everest there. The pressure is like a serious game. So I went there and I'm like, if I climbed Elbrus, I can climb any mountain in the world. Look, I performed. So I trained for 3 months. I went to the other side of the world. I saved up my money and I went all in, and we started the hike, and then it started getting harder and harder as we went up. And it was December, and we were supposed to summit somewhere around New Year's. But I didn't make it. On summit day, I was trashed. I was gone. Like there, you see a ghost in me, and my face was yellow. I was throwing up. I had nothing in my system. I was dehydrated, and I still decided to get out of the tent at like 4 a.m. in the morning and give it a try. And the guide with us, so we were a group of 3, and the guide with us, when he's like, "You cannot do it." I'm like, "Look, I know I cannot do it, but I do not want to say that I didn't even try. I know I'm dead tired, but I'm going to give it a try because I'm feeling okay now. Let me see." So I went out, and it was so cold. It was so windy. It's still dark. We started going up. And then 6,400 meters, I just couldn't anymore. Like the world was spinning in me, and I was just exhausted, and I started throwing up. I couldn't drink water. And there was another 400, almost 450 meters to go, and I couldn't. And I'm so close, and I've been on the mountain for 18 days now, and I was waiting, and I got stuck.
You could see the peak from that far, right?
No, it was still behind. But I'm just like, should I? And turning back is really difficult because it's not just the 18 days. It's everything else besides the 18 days. The training, the confidence, my mental, my thoughts.
Defeat.
Exactly. So I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I said I'm not going to kill myself, and I made a promise to come back alive. So I'm just going to turn back. And I did turn back. I went back to the camp, and I was melting snow with the guys and preparing the camp for people to come back from the summit. But I learned my lesson, and I said, you know what? I still have to do this mountain. I cannot leave it undone. There's something unfinished.
It will always be sitting there
exactly.
in your head,
So I will come next year. No matter what, I made it a point to train and come back the year after. And I was climbing a lot in 2018. So by the next year, I said, if I manage to climb Aconcagua, I'm going to climb the second highest mountain since I'm already in South America. And it happened to be Ojos del Salado, which is the highest active volcano in the world. I said, done. Okay, we'll give it a try. I don't have to summit Ojos del Salado, but I have to summit Aconcagua. And I went and I did summit Aconcagua. I came back down, did my laundry, took the flight to Chile, drove all the way to Ojos del Salado. It was me and 2 of my friends. And we were supposed just to give it a try. We were already acclimated because we were already on altitude. So it was way faster to do Ojos del Salado. And it was done. And then it's like, it was a very nice comeback.
Where in Chile is it? In Santiago? No.
Nevada.
Okay.
Nevada.
Past Mendoza.
Mish Nevada. Oh my God.
Mendoza?
You know Mendoza.
Dude,
So
I traveled to all the same countries as you. I've done literally the
Mendoza
same thing.
is one of my favorite
The only
cities.
thing that I didn't do is I was climbing up and down into the bunk bed in the hostel while you were climbing mountains and stuff. No, Mendoza, I love.
Mendoza, but sorry, I said Nevada. Nevada is in Vegas. What do you call it? The Atacama Desert.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Really
Atacama
nice.
Desert.
Argentina was one of my favorite places in the world.
It's beautiful.
And the steak there.
It's so good.
Dude, I stayed for 4. I had basically, so I was traveling from country to country, and the tickets were open, so you could change whenever. So we were supposed to stay there for 4 days, and I stayed there for 4.5 weeks because of the steak and the chimichurri, and I had 42 steaks in 4.5 weeks.
Oh well, it took you steak to. Okay, so now everybody knows how to convince you.
Right.
Give them steak.
Just give me steak, but it has to be Argentinian steak from Desnivel restaurant on Umberto Primo. So it's the very specific place. And then we went from there to Foz de Iguazu, and then we went up to into Brazil through.
I really wanted to do the South America backpacking trip.
Amazing.
Still on the list. But what countries did you visit?
In South America?
So Argentina,
Chile,
Brazil.
Bolivia, Colombia, Peru. See, this is what you do when you travel and you learn Spanish and stuff. You start to say things in a Spanish accent.
Yeah.
Colombia, Peru, Argentina, Brazil, Chile. Where else did we go? I think that was it. You know that Machu Picchu as well, since you're a climber. You know that there's another mountain you can climb higher than from Machu Picchu up, and only the first 400 people that get to the top of Machu Picchu can continue to do the next one.
Oh, really? I don't know that. I've never been to Peru.
It's one of the Latino secrets that you only learn when you,
Look, you do have
spend
the
some time there.
accent.
Yeah. I learned Spanish a long time ago when
So
I
you
was
speak
younger.
Spanish?
Sí, sabes claro español. ¿Sabes español?
And the accent sounds legit.
Yeah, of course, dude. When I was young, I was just like any girl from a country that I was just like, I need to learn how to speak to her in her home country. So I had a phase where it was like Latinas, and it was the only girls that I liked. So I was like, right, it's time to learn. ¿Dónde es la biblioteca? Just the usual starts, and then no, but traveling is amazing. So, was there have you ever had like a spiritual experience on the mountains, or is it not that kind of thing for you? Is it very kind of like straight, I'm here to do this? It's not like, oh, I went there and I found out about my inner self, and you know.
I mean, it's to me, it's more about logic, and it's all about my thoughts, feelings, my actions, and my impact. And it's logic. So where are my thoughts coming from? It's from my beliefs and my values. And where are my beliefs and values coming from? To take it one step back, it's from my experiences, my childhood, my background, if I am into a culture, and so on. So I'm the one who's shaping all these things. So on a mountain, it's all about what am I thinking about, and I just try to stay aware of my thoughts and realize how is it shaping me. And when I come back, sometimes I do feel I'm a different person. Definitely something stays up there and something comes back. But I wouldn't call it like a spiritual kind of experience because I'm aware of it, and I wait to see what's gonna happen.
So you're very present there.
Yeah,
I like that, because there's no one I like to punch in the face more than somebody that tells me, do you know that Mercury's in retrograde right now? And I'm just like, bro, I asked you where the nearest Zataruzet was. I didn't ask you which stars were aligned right now and what star sign are you? Why are you asking me what star sign I am? It doesn't make a difference.
Character. Those are fun though. What's your star sign?
I'm a Leo, obviously.
Oh wow!
Obviously, yeah.
Oh, why? Oh,
What's your star?
Why'd you say obviously?
Because they're the best.
See?
Not that it's real, but if it was real, Leos would definitely be the best.
I don't think so.
What are you?
I'm a Sagittarius.
Did you know that on the 7th moon in Sagittarius sometimes pours water on another star and some rubbish?
It's probably
like
it throws it on Leo.
Yeah, exactly. So what are you kind of like an ambassador for younger people? So I was gonna say, do you have a message for young girls who want to do this, or the whole what made a young girl? But I find that kind of a bit kind of disrespectful to be like, what made a girl want to do that? Because there's no gender when it comes to doing that kind of thing. It's a crazy thing to do, to climb mountains like that at that level for a man or a woman.
Yep.
So do you have any messages for younger people or anything? Like, don't worry, we're not at the end of the podcast. It sounds like a very end of the podcast question, but it just popped into my head now.
This is gonna be a fun podcast. Yeah. Okay, it's very interesting that you asked this question, and it's very true to say. It's challenging for both men or women to do something like this, but we are still at an era where we have to highlight, as a girl, you went there and climbed it. Sometimes we do have to say as a girl, because there's a lot of women who have done those things, but they're just not mentioned, or nobody knows about them. It's just gone. So when you say, as a girl, I did have to go through way more obstacles than a man have to go, for example, especially when it comes to support, when it comes to financials, when it comes to doing things. Whether we like it or not, we still have more obstacles within our journey to reach any goals for all women. And when we highlight as a woman, we're just basically highlighting how did you overcome all these extra obstacles that you don't really have to go through. So as a woman, what my message to young people would be is, instead of really focusing on what the trend is or what the social media is doing or what you're basically exposed to in the city is not always real. What's real is what you want to see as real. We live in an illusion, and it's up to you to create your story. The sooner you begin, the better it is. It's all about getting out there, doing the research, understanding what you love. And a lot of people are struggling in finding their true passion, because I get asked a lot of, like, how did you find, you're lucky you have a passion. No, I had to try so many things. I've been trying sports since I was about 14. I tried basketball, I went into the swimming team, and I failed in so many sports. I messed up in so many extreme activities. I've done bungee jumps, I've done skydiving. But then it took me about 10 years to realize that I love mountaineering, I love climbing, I love the outdoors. And do your research from now. The sooner you do it, the faster you would start learning and like building up that strength that you need to do that sport. And it doesn't have to be only sports to be. It can be anything. It can be something in science. It can be something in leadership. It can be anything and everything. So yeah, get out there and explore.
Mm. No, yeah, I totally agree with you. I think people are wasting. I think people, it's a very cliche statement that we're going to die soon, or we're only here for anything can happen. Do you know what I mean? A friend of mine told me a story today. He was catching a plane. His friend told him this story. So my friend landed here. His friend was coming from the UK. The plane took off. Something fell out of the plane and hit the baggage handler. Why are you laughing?
I'm not laughing.
This is serious, okay? You're not going to clip yourself onto this one. Okay, so something fell out the plane, hit the baggage handler guy on the head. He died instantly. Now, you just never know these things. Life is so fleeting and so, like, you know, it's insane that people, I think because they're living their life, they don't really, they're living in the movie, right? They think, they see, okay, we've been told, oh, you get old and you die and then you have grandkids. And it's not true for everyone. So it's like people need to actually be like, what if I've only got 5 years left?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, very true.
And they don't realize the time, how it's different. I saw something very interesting. You live with your parents, right?
No.
Okay, your parents are abroad or here?
Abroad and here.
Okay, so he was saying to the guy, he was like, how old are your parents? And he was like, they're 75. He was like, how often do you see your parents? And he was like, probably about once or twice a year. So he was like, okay, let's say best case scenario, they live to 80. And you think you have 5 years left with your parents. But in reality, you don't. You have 5 times more with your parents.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you see them twice a year, you have 5 more times to see them, or 10 more times that you're going to see them. And that kind of realization can change the way people
It
will think about
change the whole
things.
relationship dynamic if
You know what I
think
mean?
about it. Yeah.
All of a sudden, Mom, I'm coming, 3 times this week. Do you know what I mean?
Mom, I love you.
But people
I love you.
they don't realize that kind of thing, that it's, you really do. And it does sound so cliche and motivational quote and stuff, and live your life to the fullest, but really you need to start doing stuff. You need to go and do it. Like if you feel like you want to do something, or you feel like there's nothing going on in your life, you can't be like, maybe something will figure itself out. You have to actively look for, okay, what is needed in your life?
Yeah.
What are you missing? What can you do? What would you enjoy doing? And I don't think enough people in the world actively seek that out.
Because they're socially conditioned to tick the boxes, and they're so focused about, I need to finish school, and then I need to get my degree, and then I need to get my job, and then after the job I want to make a family, and then I need to have kids, and I need to, and then life just passes through, and you look back and you're like, what have I done? And we're socially conditioned because we have to tick boxes and we have to follow the process. And that's what I keep on saying. There is no standards. You set your own standards. And that's exactly what I've done. I decided, no, there is no glass ceiling. There's no limits. There's no standards. It's me who shaped me and who will shape my future. And I want my future me to be the inspiring person to me today. And what is it that I need to do for me to be that person? And I'm doing it from today, and it takes a lot of time. But I mean, as long as you just block distraction, this whole society, what society says, what family says, what friends says, and they instill their fears in you, it will really push you back, and you'll just be sitting there and ticking the box and taking the easy way, because there's a lot of fears when you want to be different, right? And you don't want to face these fears, but you just need to know that no, it's easier than what you think inside your head about being different and not following the norm and the standard that has been set, the artificial rules and guidelines on how to live life.
Yeah, so true. Couldn't have said it better myself. Tell me about completing the 7 challenge. That's very interesting to me.
The Explorer Grand Slam.
Yeah.
That's my next big thing. So It's very interesting because in mountaineering, there's the 7 summits. 7 summits are the highest mountain on every continent. So that's a project.
I've done them on the Stairmaster.
I know you did. I'm sure you did.
You're never going to look at a Stairmaster again in the same way. Every time you're in the gym, you're going to go,
I swear. I think I was gonna.
this guy, man.
I do a lot of stairmaster,
right?
so you're gonna see yourself
yeah,
tagged all the time on the stairs.
Exactly.
So yes, climbing the highest mountain in every continent and skiing to the last degree of the North Pole and the South Pole. So out of 71 explorers around the world, only 15 women have ever completed this challenge. And this number is as low as a number of women in STEM, space, politics, leadership. So when you walk up into a boardroom, you rarely see a lot of women. When you look into politics and who's making the decisions, there's not a lot of women. And it says a lot because women are not really being supported, or the decision of women is not really trusted because she's either emotionally not stable, she's going through the phase, and there's a lot of other things that society thinks, or it's embedded within people's head, whether men or women, when it comes about having women claiming their seat that they deserve. And through this campaign, one, I do want to finish it and tick the box because it's my box, it's not the society's box. And I want to add another woman to the list because we need more women doing these things, and why not? If I have the strength and ability to do it, then why not? And two, through that campaign, I really want to spread awareness on basically women and the obstacles that they face through their journey. And the way I'm doing it is a way that I never thought I'd do it. So I've been trying to pitch for sponsorship since I started climbing. But I was in finance and I was doing very well, and I was funding myself. But then when I decided to do the career shift and go into adventure, it's a different game. Now you have to hustle for...
Yeah, now there's no salary coming
exactly.
in. You're just like,
There's no salary. So it's a different story. And that's fine. I'm doing what I love at the end of the day. But then, of course, I need to look for funds now. And to complete the challenge, I need $200,000. And to get $200,000...
not easy.
It's not easy anymore. Not easy at all. So I decided to start the GoFundMe page. And through that GoFundMe page, I did a video where I literally asked people to support my goal. And it's no longer my goal. It's everybody's goal. And the amount of support that I've received so far is incredible. So I'm at $20,000 right now.
$21,000. Let me just go on that thing and just add that $1 for you. There we go. We're getting there. Yeah.
That was very fast.
Yeah,
So there was a lot of support, and it's very nice to see. And I never thought I'd take a move like that and ask people for money. And it's how you say the story and what you tell to yourself. So I said, you know what? This is not me asking people for money. And no, this is not me just wanting to do the Explorer Grand Slam and achieve my dream. Now this is more about a whole campaign that I need to run, and I need to show the world, like, you know what, women can go out and run a campaign for $200,000 and go do what they want to do because they can be supported. There's a lot of men who was supported. If you look at the list, you'll see who got supported. So taking this bold move is one way that I would like to inspire other women and girls to actually just do it and don't think what society is going to think. Coming from the Middle East and doing a GoFundMe page isn't something very usual, but I choose to block the noise and just focus on the goal. And it's working out so far. And two, I just want more women to claim the seat that they deserve. Just like I'm literally claiming that I want to be the 16th woman on that list, and I want more women to be in claiming their own seats in whatever sector they are. I just want them to get inspired and see, look, if she could run a campaign on her own, because my country doesn't support me. There's no government to support us.
They can't support themselves, to be honest.
My family is not supporting. There's only me. Kamal is definitely the biggest support. But then there's me. I need to do it. And being an independent woman in the Middle East is something difficult. We can't just look at women in the UAE because, Smallah, women in the UAE are definitely empowered. It's different here. But when you look across the region, it's very difficult. It's not easy, especially for a woman who doesn't have a corporate job right now and building your own self and having your own startup. So yeah, I hope to see more women really living their dream, their true self, and not caring about the society and what anyone thinks, and just doing that bold move that she needs to do to get there and inspire more women. Because at the end of the day, we're continuing a legacy, and I believe we all have a responsibility to do so. Women in history have fought for us to be where we are today. If we go back few centuries ago, women were just another object. They weren't looked at as humans. Maybe in some societies,
Depends
not.
where, because
Exactly.
there's also, if you look at places like, like Shaka Zulu's wife.
I'm not sure I know who
Shaka
Shaka
Zulu
Zulu.
is one of the best warriors in the world.
Okay.
Who took over most of the things. His wife was the one doing all the war plans and all that stuff. So there's a lot of women in history
That have done a lot.
behind the scenes were doing all of the stuff.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. You had Cleopatra. She was running
Okay.
things for a while.
Thank
She
God
was
we had
like,
Cleopatra.
bring me Mark Antony. So there has been a lot of, but I totally understand what you're saying. I mean, it'd be very naive and silly for a guy to say that, women have been put under pressure a lot more.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
They've been oppressed. Feminism started because they had to ask for equal rights, for equal pay. They wanted their voting right. They wanted to go out there and just work and be treated equally and receive similar opportunities. It's all about equity. And there's still a lot of work to do, a lot of work. And I believe through that campaign, I'm continuing that legacy because I just want to pave the road for more women to live their dreams and achieve their goals, no matter what.
Yeah, and I think it's very important to be able to do that and still be you. What you find is a lot of these really powerful women who have been accepted have had to slightly tweak their characters and be very intimidating and be very, to reach that CEO role or whatever, that people have to be scared of them to show them respect. And that shouldn't be the case. Do you know what I mean?
It's not fear, it's compassion.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I want to introduce you to my management company, run by two very amazing women.
I met her today.
You did? Who did you meet?
Jessica.
Jessica's my
What
girl.
a nice lady.
Yeah.
A very nice woman.
Yeah. So those two, definitely. Welcome to the family. So yeah, they're the kind of people you need on board. Can you change the videos on the GoFundMe?
I can.
Because I might be able to help you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so basically what we'll do is we'll get a clip now of me going, you'll never do it, you're a woman.
Look
And
at
then
you.
everyone
And
will
then
hate me, and they'll
and
be like, I'll show him she'll never do it. And then just donate loads of money really quickly just to make me look like an idiot. And then
that's a
we've done
good
it.
idea.
It's very easy, yeah.
That's a good
I don't think
idea.
you've got what it sounds like a man thing to do what you're doing.
Yeah, you can't do it.
Yeah, you can't do it, man.
You can't raise the money.
You can't do it. Let's talk about space, because that's something really cool that you've been getting into. So let's talk about the Astronaut series.
So the Astronaut, before COVID and during beginning of March, I think, they approached me and they said, send us your profile. There's this astronaut show and you're qualified. I'm like, but I never studied engineering, and I'm like business and finance. I don't know space. And they're like, no, trust us. It's all about like competing, and it's about physical strength. You do have to know some knowledge about space, but it's nothing too deep. I said, okay, fine. I go, come on, yo.
Yeah.
Hook me up. What did you learn in NASA? You're an
That's
aerospace
actually a
engineer.
great connection to have. Yeah.
I know, right? So there was a lot of learning because the show had to stop in March, and then we had to resume in August, just August 2020. So by then I was ready. I had the information, I was fit, I was ready to compete, and we started competing, and we were 12 contestants, and out of these 12 we were only 3 girls. But then I was full-on competition mode, and I wanted to win no matter what. And I performed. So the judge was Scott Kelly, and Scott Kelly is the astronaut who stayed the longest time in space, which is a year. So he was there, and we had a neurologist and the representative of Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center. So they were 3 judges, and they would judge us based on our performances. We had to go through challenges like putting fire down in an airplane. It was really intense, and we had to like fix tubes underwater in Deep Dive Dubai.
Nice.
We had to I jumped off a helicopter. That was the first challenge, and like that was the best part of it.
Wait, elaborate on that. What do you mean jumped off a helicopter?
We
You were
had to-
tied to the helicopter, right?
No, you jump into the water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
It looked like I jumped off a helicopter. How did you finish that jump?
How
Yeah,
did you
yeah.
land in the water?
Okay, amazing.
So we've done and a lot of brain teasers exercises. We had to drive a rover. We had to drive those huge trucks backward, and it was all about teamwork. And it's all the activities that they actually do before they go to space.
Filmed here.
Yeah, all in Dubai.
But did you do the what's that thing called where you get in that tiny little pod and it,
No,
the G-force?
no, we didn't do.
Thing.
Instead, we went to.
They just put you in a Nissan Patrol on Sheikh Zayed Road with just a local, and they were like, "You'll feel G-force soon. Fast lane, yalla, flashlights."
We were actually in a car in,
Yeah?
in the what do you call it? The
autodrome.
go-karting autodrome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were in the autodrome. We were the car was like, I don't know. I think it was speeding at 120 and doing those turns, and we had a cube that we had to fix 5 things on it, like screwing a
So
fan
under
and-
pressure.
yeah. So that was the G-force. We've done a lot of challenging activities, and I performed. And every time, I was the best performer of the week twice on the show. So that was something. And I was focusing on breaking barriers. My focus was, one, is to win, definitely. And two, it was all about presenting the Arab woman, the Middle Eastern woman. I wanted to show that women are strong, they know, they're smart, I have the knowledge, I have the strength, I can compete with a man or a woman, and I have all it takes to go to space. With everything I spoke about and I did, it was literally based on like presenting the image of an Arab woman. And it happened, it worked out very well. And by the end, they chose somebody else. So I made it to the finals. We were 3 finalists, and I wasn't the winner. And
Politics.
and yeah, but it was a great experience.
Wow. So why weren't you the winner? No, we're not going to get into that. Okay, this is something that I know is close to your heart, and you did a lot of groundwork in Beirut after the explosion
I did.
with the women and children.
Mazboot.
Talk to me about that, man, because that was so I'm going to be straight up with this. And a lot of people, and when people hear I've never been to Lebanon, أنت ما رحت لبنان, and it's like hearing that something impossible. Being a Lebanese person who's never been to Lebanon, for a Lebanese person to hear is like, خلاص, there's no point of finishing this conversation. So I don't have, I mean, to be honest, I've always been a kind of nomad. I don't feel patriotic about anywhere.
Me too.
Yeah, like nowhere is home to me. Obviously Dubai is home, but I mean, I don't have that patriotism. Like, you know, some people, like when they talk about their country, it's like we're they literally see themselves as the higher people kind of thing. So obviously it hit my heart when I saw the explosion and all that stuff, but the attachment wasn't there, because I feel the same about everywhere when things are happening in Palestine, when things are happening in thingy. So, but I can understand to Lebanese people how much, especially not just because it happened, but because of the years and years of politics and struggle and corruption and leading to that, because it was something to do with people skimming around the edges, why the stuff was there and all that stuff. So how did that feel to you, going there and being there and dealing with all that?
I mean, like you said, I didn't just go because I'm Lebanese and I'm
You
from
went
Lebanon.
because you want to show the woman who's going. Seems to be a regular theme that's going on.
I think you should say why I went. I think you know.
So basically what you wanted to do is you wanted to show a strong Middle Eastern woman with no fear, who was ready to go there and do whatever it took and whatever was needed.
I went because it's humanity, and I went because nobody deserves to be in that situation. And by that time I was freelancing, and COVID really hit everybody, and it hit my startup as well. I was doing my thing, and then I couldn't do it anymore. So I'm like, where is my talent much needed right now, and everything I know, who can utilize me the most? And I looked, and the Lebanese really, like, it was crisis there. So a week after the crisis, I decided to go on ground, and I joined up with Borderless NGO. So I met them when I climbed Everest. So after climbing Everest, I did a talk for the children and women there, and I've done some volunteering. And I got in touch, and I said, okay, how can I help? They're like, if you can come, definitely come. And I went to Karantina. It's one of the most affected areas from the blast. It's right next to the port. And I just looked around, and it was chaotic, and it was children on the street. Houses are just gone. The blasts have taken a lot
It's
from the area.
heartbreaking, huh?
And you'd see people, it's like a jungle when donations comes in, and people just run to the donations, and everybody's trying to survive. And
Yeah, because
it's
they're in fight or
frustrating.
flight
Exactly.
mode. They're,
And it's just frustrating seeing it, and I'm just like, it's bad, it's really bad. So with Borderless, they really focus on education, so educating children, upskilling youth, and empowering women. And it's all about the power to dream and achieve, the freedom to dream and the power to achieve. And it's really in line with what I do. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start helping. What do you want me to do? So I started with social media, and I started abusing the fact I'm the first Lebanese woman to climb Everest, and I'm doing this on ground. Oh, okay, people would listen. It's different when you come in with a title. So I was able to get in few things, and we managed to have a center there. We got donors. The center is up and running, and now it has 300 children
wow.
and 200 women. But as Tima, I was basically coaching women, and I was collecting my pro bonos, but I think I was a blessing to collect it the way I did, because
Yeah.
I worked with marginalized women who genuinely need that. So I was on ground for a year. And
Wow, so you were there for a long time.
yeah, it's the longest I've ever been to Lebanon. I've never lived in Lebanon. And there's like a video of me, because أنا ما بعرف الألف باء تاء مظبوط, and I wrote it on the paper, and I was trying to teach the children something that they can relate to. So I was like, يلا repeat after me. Alif, alif, ba, ba. And then I would make a mistake and they would correct me.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm trying.
Yeah.
But I bonded very well with them. Until now, I still work with Borderless as a full-time volunteer, whether through social media, whether through management, whether on ground. It's always good to go back and see the impact and how it's growing, because it didn't really stop at the blast. It was beyond that. And they're really doing a lot of psychosocial support to children to change that community and give them more hopes and show them, like, expand their horizon for them to be able to see different paths in life.
Yeah, it's very difficult when you have countries like that, where the people in power are not the most reliable and honest people. And it's heartbreaking to see that you can't always trust that the money's going to the right place, you know, with donations, or the donations are going to the right place, or that. So it's very kind of like tough in places like that.
It's come on, like it was on everywhere. Every country who was trying to send donations would not send to the government, would send straight to selected.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, people were saying,
NGOs.
look, I trust this person.
Yes.
I was getting WhatsApps like that. Like,
Yeah.
we've vetted them.
Yeah.
Send it there. Don't send it to there, because
It says a lot about the country.
Yeah,
And it
it's-
says a lot about the opportunities for people. That's why everybody's leaving. Nobody wants to stay in Lebanon. So there are few people who wouldn't leave Lebanon because of Lebanon. But then you have people who use their, I don't want to say that, but you have people who really want more in life. And just can't. And I'm not somebody who lived in Lebanon. I only started living there after the crisis. So I don't even know
No,
how
you don't know
Lebanon
Lebanon,
was
yeah.
when it was in the good time. And everybody tells me, like, why would you come in the worst time ever? I'm like, because
I'm
this
not on
is
holiday. I'm here to help. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Yeah.
Because this is the most time that Lebanon needs people.
Yeah.
And I think I would do this to any other country, but it was just easy to Lebanon. I don't need a visa. I'm from there. I have family there. So it's easy to give your time and give back to the community, no matter what it is.
So let's talk about family support. I want to know all about that.
The family support.
Just in general, with what you're doing and that kind of stuff. How supportive were they?
So I have a very supportive family, and yeah, they've been supportive since I started my journey. I have an extremely supportive mother who believes that I can go to space tomorrow. But then obviously, with the social conditioning and the backgrounds and the culture, sometimes you would face a lot of resistance and a lot of clashes. So I don't have family support right now because there's limits, And I have a tough father, definitely. So he used to be the most supportive man, full on. He's the one who actually insisted that I do Everest. And in 2019, it was my birthday. I remember very well. He came in and I was struggling with the down payment. And he's like, I'm doing the down payment. This is your birthday gift. You're going to Everest. I'm like, there's only 3 months to train because it was December. And then he's like, you can do it. I know you can do it. And I'm like, great. It was amazing. And he was praying day and night that I come back alive and everything's good. And I came back, but when I came back, things changed. We had clashes because to him it was, okay, now Everest is done. This was your dream. You've climbed.
Go back to the real
Limits
world.
are limits. Go back to career. You need to get married. We need to get you, and then you need to calm down.
Yeah.
And this whole woman right thing, you need to calm down on it. It's not about women's right all the time. So I had to explain myself a lot of times. And I was struggling because I no longer could do what I love to do. And my soul was just dying.
So you stopped?
I didn't stop. There was a lot happening. There was COVID, but there was just the idea of not being able to do what I want. So being like guiding people on Ras Al Khaimah would be something looked down at. It's basically the social conditioning that society have set, but again the standards and when
standards and class and all
exactly.
of that stuff is like, look, my daughter's not going to be a tour guide on a mountain. Like, do you know what I mean?
exactly.
Yeah.
And what is this?
Like how we raise you better, and how can I tell my friends like, oh, my daughter's doing this, and like,
Exactly.
yeah, my daughter's camping in Ras Al Khaimah.
Exactly. So this was one of the few things, and I totally understand where this is coming from. And they didn't have back then the level of awareness and like the freedom and the freedom to dream basically and just do what you love, you know. And there's standards, there's specific sectors that you need to fit in. You're in finance, you utilize that. You're smart, and he's very supportive in that, and we worked a lot together. But then we clashed and we haven't spoke for the past 2 years. But this is where it's okay. Of course I love him from the bottom of my heart, but sometimes you really need to go through really tough times and hardships because family is everything. And when you don't have the family support, it's one of the most difficult emotions you can go through. But you cannot blame them as well because it's how they're conditioned and it's not their fault. But at the same time, I would not stop living the dream and breaking barriers because I feel it's my responsibility. And just because I cannot communicate that in the best way as of today, maybe, then that's okay. Maybe one day he would understand and realize, oh, she was right, maybe. But it's a difficult one.
It is a difficult one, but I would think at 19 mountains, he would realize it's not a phase and it's essentially who you are.
But it's not what our society
but
is, right?
There's one thing with society when it's one mountain or 2 mountains. But 19 mountains later, there's something very wrong with your daughter, and this is what she wants to do. Like, but you know what? But you know what I mean. Like, there's nothing that's gonna change your mind about. You've pretty much decided how you're gonna live your life. 19 mountains is a lot of mountains, dude.
No,
you're not talking about like 19 roller skate parks or whatever.
Yeah.
These are full-on journeys where you go and you know.
Like my father is a typical Arab man. And we went from not having a curfew to dad, I'm going to camp in Oman for 2 days. I'm climbing Jabal Shams and coming back. He had to go through so much with conflicts within, and there's a lot of fathers that are going probably through the same thing. It's so difficult for a father to see his daughter just not caring.
Be independent
and
as well,
exactly, it's tough, and he had to accept so many things when it comes to traveling alone and exploring and going to remote areas, and I might die anytime, and I know how much he loves me, but he wanted to put limits. And I cannot. You cannot limit somebody. And I always tell parents when I do talks at school, like listen to them. Try to understand what they're trying to tell you, because most of the time you're so worried about your daughter or your son that you fail to see what they're trying to show you. They're expressing something, and you never know what they can be in the future. You really don't. They might change a nation. But you just gotta support them. You gotta trust them. There is something in there that they're trying to put out there, and all you have to do is guide them. Just guide them and be there for them. It's really nice because I've experienced both. I've experienced support and I've experienced no support. And I tell you, it's difficult. It's very hard not having him in my life, but it's something that I have to accept and just hope that one day he'll talk to me.
When you complete the 7 and he's proud of you.
Maybe.
No, yeah, I think that's very powerful, and I think a lot of people don't realize how much power children have and potential that children have. And I mean, I go through this a lot. I don't, when I'm explaining stuff to my twins and stuff, it's never because I said so or whatever. It's, let me explain to you why this isn't the right choice. You can deal with, you can take it how you will after that and deal with it. But we've been conditioned to, I'm the adult.
Yeah.
Therefore, what I say is bond. It's the end.
Yeah. And
that's such a bad way to program and create limiting beliefs in younger children, where, if only, and the reason why you are like you are and are ready for life is because that inner child in you refuses to leave. Children can do amazing things. Yeah. It's only when we start to turn to adults where we start becoming fearful, where we start to, and when you're young, you'll jump off there. You'll worry about it later when you land, but you'll do it. The fear isn't there. The negativity isn't there. We're free beings. I mean, I always say that like the real humans are children until we turn out to be idiots and adults and whatever. Very because true. That's when all the limits come. If you can teach a child from a young age in a way that supports them and lets them creatively be who they want to be, both mentally and physically, it's insane the society we could actually build if everyone was on the same page.
Very true.
Apparently, not everyone is like that, but we're getting there. We are getting there. There's a big awakening.
I mean, if you look at the baby boomers, it's a little bit late. But if you look at the second half of the millennials, you'd see there's a lot of change when you raise up a child. And there's something very important. Parents think that they're bringing up a child, but they're bringing up the child, and the child is bringing up a mother or a father. The child is also teaching you how to be a mom or how to be a father, and it's a two-way. It's not one way. It's definitely not one way. So it's interesting how things are turning out to be. But I just hope to see more parents really raising their children to be. You cannot tell a girl خلاص anymore, you have to be careful. You cannot instill your fears in your children. Let them just go do it. You shouldn't be afraid.
Dude, I'm totally the same as you. I do that with my boys as well, the twins. Like when they were like, Baba, can I jump from here? They're only 4 years old. I'm like, size it up, bro. Do you think you can make that jump? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, jump. See what happens, dude. You might make it, you might not, but I'm not going to tell you not to jump. You need to learn how to analyze situations, analyze distance, analyze your own. If you believe you can do it and you've accepted, I'm going to make this, and you've visualized it in your head, you're going to make that jump. If you're unsure about it, then come back to it later and then jump. But just, I want to know how you feel. Whenever they're like, can I do this? I'm like, can you do it? I'm asking you. I know you're asking me, but I'm asking you, have you thought about it through? Do you feel confident enough to do it? If so, do it. If you fall, and I'll be like, I guess we couldn't do it this time. Let's try again later. Let's see what happens. Do you know what I mean? Very nice.
Yeah, that's exactly. You give him the freedom of him experiencing things and exploring things and testing it out. Yeah.
I was doing some stupid shit when I was younger. I was always doing, like I used to, believe it, I used to rollerblade, but not down Miami Beach in jean shorts. I used to like aggressively compete in like half pipes and vert ramps and be sponsored in street skating, like X Games levels. And
let's hang on. Rollerblading.
Not on the Stairmaster.
Maybe on the treadmill.
No.
Maybe on the treadmill.
Actually, I'm talking about when I was like 14, 15. I went back to the UK, maybe it was about 10 years ago. And my cousin was like, hey, listen, there's a skate park there. Let's put the blades on and see if we can still do it. We used to flip, somersault, 720, all that stuff. I put those skates on and I was like, I can't believe the stuff I used to do. Like the fear of an adult. Like I'd stand at the top of the thing and I'd be like, nah, I'm not doing that. But before, I would just go up and I wouldn't even think. It would be like a cat, you know, just in motion. It's like free running, you know. You're going, you're doing, you're moving. You're not even thinking about anything. Everything is visually finished before you do it. Now, as an adult, I'm just like, bro, hold this. Wait, stay there, mate. Stay there. I just want to see the edge. Do you know what I mean? So we need to kind of keep that inner child in us, in everything we do.
It's difficult as you grow and taking risks. Like sometimes when I'm rock climbing and I compare myself to like few years back and I'm just like, what? Or maybe I haven't climbed in some time. It's so uncomfortable. My hands are not moving, like, and it's not my body, it's my thoughts, it's my beliefs. I'm having limiting beliefs about myself, and this is what happens as we grow up, because we're exposed to more things, we're seeing more people instill their fears in us, and we start having all these limited beliefs about ourselves, and we end up in our own bubble instead of really testing and trying what we like, what we don't, what we can change. And like, we should start celebrating failure. Like Amjad, I think the fear of failure is something very big, and it's okay to fail. Until date, I'm still learning how to celebrate because I hate failing. But sometimes failing is something good. We just don't have this in our culture.
And we just have to be open. I mean, the people around us are very important as well. Because, you know, the circle of friends and the people you keep, their, like you were saying, their beliefs and their fears and everything get put onto you. I remember I was sitting in the office with DK yesterday, and we were just having this dispute. He was like, you don't listen. I'm telling you, you should do this for the show. You don't listen. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I don't listen. And he was like, look, I shouldn't be the smartest person in the room. If I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm in the wrong room, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't be. Like, the people around you, you should be able to, there should be something there that they're giving you. It doesn't have to be monetary, or it doesn't have to be, but there should be something about them that they can teach you something one way or another. So when you start hanging around with the same friends all the time, they're doing the same thing all the time, nothing new is happening.
True.
Do you know what I mean? That's the only reason we're friends now, is because you're climbing mountains and I'm like, I need to start upping my Stairmaster game. Do you know what I mean? Someone who's doing some stuff. What is it about danger that you're attracted to? Because you are attracted to danger.
Because it's that moments that you really feel alive, because you're about to lose your life, and like, if I'm still alive, it's beautiful. And I've been in a lot of situations on the mountain where khalas, maybe that's it, but then you come back really strong and you appreciate life. And the confidence that it gives you when you do that stunt or that move, and it works out, it's really mesmerizing. I feed on these things, and it gives me more confidence to do more things.
Is there, if you could tell me one story that was the scariest NDA, the scariest near-death experience, or something where you were like, no, I'm done here. I'm this close, or
something I was really, really. I'm trying. There's many things, but like,
what's the one
extreme.
The one that just sticks in your head now? When I ask you, what's the scariest thing you've ever done? Because you've done a lot of stuff. You've jumped out of planes. You've jumped out of a helicopter. And now
jumping out of the plane this is why I stopped it. So
boring.
we were skydiving. Not like on the mountain. The thing is, all these things that happen on the mountain, I crack up. So like, I have a story on the mountain where I fell into a crevasse and my leg was stuck inside the crevasse because my boot went in an L shape and it couldn't come out. And I was on camp 3. So that's 7,400 meters. And I have an oxygen mask and I'm wearing my down suit. And under the down suit, there's 3 layers of pants and like 4 layers of shirts. And my backpack has my oxygen tank and my face is covered with a mask. And there's the mask on my face, the oxygen mask. And I cannot talk. And my Sherpa's just looking at me. And I'm hanging on the cliff and I'm trying to stay on the slope, but then I'm going backward. And every move is making me pant, and I'm above all this laughing. And he's like, you need to stop laughing. I'm like, I'm gonna die.
You're like, this is it. This is the one. I can't believe it was such a stupid way to die. I've done so much worse.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm like, I'm gonna die. And he's like, focus. I'm like, I'm stuck. My leg is stuck, and it's so windy. And it was like 5 a.m. in the morning, and I can't hear him, and he can't hear me. And he's just trying to yell, like, get out of there. And I'm like, it's stuck. Look, it's not moving. And I had no power to move. And it was very funny.
I can imagine.
Man, because any wrong move, I could just slip and die.
Like that guy who had to cut off his own hand.
Oh yeah, I've seen that in the Grand
mountain.
Canyon. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen that's next level.
So it's
I
not
haven't-
always funny.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's another one I was gonna. So there was showers on base camp, and in those showers,
What kind of country club is this?
I know.
You've got kitchens, beds, and showers. It doesn't seem that hard.
No, the showers, because come on, for 2 months, I only showered 4 times. So that was difficult.
So you've had better months.
Definitely. So once I was showering, and you don't want to shower a lot because seriously, if you shower and get sick, that's it for you. And it's on gas. So the tent, there was gas flowing into the tent, but I cannot feel it. And I'm like, damn, this altitude is hitting me hard today. And I'm just showering. And then I had to pick up something, and then I couldn't come back up. And I
So you were
was
getting high from
so
the gas.
dizzy. But then I was trying, I was literally like snailing my way out the tent, and I'm trying to dress up and then just to put my head out. And then they realized that there was leakage into the tent, and I was this close to death because of me showering and inhaling gas. That was bad, and it was on altitude.
Look, it works to your favor. What you can do is, whenever your fiance is like, dude, you need to have a shower, you should be like, listen, I've got some PTSD. I almost died showering once, so I don't really need to shower right now. I don't want to bring back those those memories, you know?
I haven't reached that level.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
need
yeah.
to shower.
Exactly. Have you ever been in I'm doing this tomorrow. Have you ever been in a sensory deprivation chamber?
Yeah, the altitude chamber.
No.
Where is
So
it?
this is another one. It's a pod that's filled with water and magnesium and salt, loads of it.
I don't know.
I'm going to send you there.
Yeah.
So it's a pod you get in. It's filled with water, a lot of magnesium and salt, so you float on the top and you feel like you're floating in space. On
it's
top
nice.
of that, they close the lid.
Yeah.
It's pitch black and it's soundproof. So
Wow.
you're left with nothing but your
Meditation.
with your inner thoughts, and you're in there for 90 minutes. And after like minute 5 to 10, you no longer know what's up, what's down, what's left, what's right,
Oh, yeah.
everything.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
just you're astral projecting. You don't know where you are, and you can.
You gotta tell
like,
me
trip
how that's
out.
gonna feel like.
What do you mean?
That's
You're going
exciting.
on Sunday, dude. I'm gonna book it for you. Yeah, for sure. If you like that kind
I
of
would
stuff,
love to.
it's definitely an experience. Like people say that they have like out of body experiences in there. That's
I've done
insane.
something similar, but it was in the desert with the astronaut show. They woke us up at like 4, and we drove all the way into the desert, and we just look around, and there's those boxes, and they're covered, and they're like, you all are going inside. Like, okay. So you go inside, and the sun starts rising, and you start getting so sweaty. It's so hot in the desert, and we're just in a box under the sand.
What, as in
Yeah.
in a coffin?
Yes. Yeah. There's the episode. You can watch it.
Yeah.
So I was there for like 45 minutes. But
You need to do this thing. I'm gonna book you in.
Okay,
It's
cool.
the salt water that makes it crazy, because you're literally
Yeah.
but you don't feel like you're floating. It's a very crazy thing to explain, but you'll do it.
You've done it before?
I've done it before, yeah.
And what thoughts did you, what
What
kind
didn't
of
I see? I was tripping balls. I was all over the place. I was hallucinating.
Really?
Yeah, you leave your body. It's crazy.
Nice.
Like after you get over the whole stop talking to myself and being, because in the beginning you're overconscious that you're inside here,
Yeah.
because there's zero sound.
Yeah.
It's soundproofed, and it's literally like as big as a couch. You're lying down, you're floating, you can't feel anything. It's dead silent and pitch black. So you
Wow.
can't see how far the top of the thing is.
It's
You can't
interesting.
see
And
how
for
far the
91,
walls are,
Yeah.
and you're floating.
Yeah.
So after you get out of that, okay, I'm comfortable now and whatever, then you start doing some crazy things. Like, yeah, you're gonna love it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
love
so. I think so.
Dude, is there any message that you want to leave the people with?
Compassion is what the mountains have gave me, and what I give, and what I hope to see more in the world. Just be kind and live your true self. I mean, you only live once, and that's very true, but we fail to see it. And I just wish to see more people literally doing what they love, instead of just thinking about what they love and hating where they are and wasting their time just saying, if I did that would have been. No, just do it. Don't be scared.
Teach them how. How do they do it? How do they take that step? I know everyone's different.
Yeah.
But how do you advise someone to take that leap? What is it?
It's practice. So you need to. So as I said, it was a process of trying so many things, and then after finding what you love, you have to be ready for society, because now you're like a salient. You're into something, and okay, with mountaineering, the community is very small, so you feel like you do not belong anywhere. Because I was losing friends, and then you were focused. But with anything else you do, really like try to see who's into it, because it's always motivating when you see more people doing it and you're not on your own. And yeah, be ready for challenges. If you're trying to start your own business, for example, if you're having this career shift, be ready. It's not easy. You should get into it not thinking, oh, this is the dream, this is gonna be amazing. No, this is gonna be hard work. Like Elon Musk said, sometimes you gotta chew glasses when you're doing your own startup, and it's that hard. But you shouldn't stop. I have days where I really want to give up, and I use this 3 days process of okay, day 1, I'm tired, I'm gonna take a break. Day 2, I'm depressed, nothing is gonna work out, I'm not made for this, my imposter syndrome kicks in, and but then day 3, no matter how I feel, I don't care. If I don't get up, then I have failed myself. And the last thing I want to do is failing myself. So set yourself that process of getting up every time you fall, because you're going to fall all the time. But how you get up is different for each person. If the 3 days thing worked for me, something else can work for someone else. And that's what we do, by the way, with coaching. We literally find out those ways of you rebounding back and coming back faster. So the next time you fall, you come back faster. And by the time you fall and get up, you look back and you realize that you have came a long way. And once you look back and like reflect on that, it gives you a bigger push. So find ways that keeps you, what brings you, what wakes you up every day, what gets you motivated. How do you like focus and your determination? You really need to like tweak this process in your life, because they're different. You can go out and Google it and watch all the motivation videos. You can listen to some videos that I've made about how to stay motivated. But until you find your way that works for you, then you've unlocked something that can stay with you for the rest of your life, for you to do things and keep you going. Because life sometimes can get really tough, but it's not about the tough time. It's about how you get up every time.
Or you could just watch the Jibber With Jaber podcast and we can get you through anything, dude. We'll find a way. Dude, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you.
Likewise.
Time flies when you're having fun, huh?
What time is it?
It's already an hour and 30 minutes.
We've been talking for an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, hour and 20 something. Yeah.
Damn, we talk a lot.
Yeah, right? Nah, don't worry. We'll go do episode 2 after you've done the 7. We'll come back. And maybe I'll do it with you on the Stairmaster. Just so
you know what? We actually should do that.
Maybe I should raise money for you by doing something on the Stairmaster for your GoFundMe.
That would be super supportive.
Well, I'm done. I'm down.
Actually, so it's 117 kilometers skiing to the last degree on the North Pole.
Okay.
So when I'm there, you should do something for 117 kilometers with me.
I'm down.
From the other side.
I'm down.
Cool.
I'm ready. I'll make that promise today. Me and DK are going to do it. DK's going to do most of it. DK's up there going, I ain't doing nothing for none of you guys.
Sorry, DK.
Yeah. No, we're going to do it. And also, I'm going to put the link in the for the GoFundMe.
Yeah, that would be nice.
In the, what's that thing? The description downstairs. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. And every time I have someone like you on the show, really, lets me realize how little I've achieved in life. And how much more I want to do.
And for everybody who's listening, do not think I've achieved so much. Do not say that.
No, but do not take away from what you've achieved. You've achieved a lot.
Yeah, I did achieve a lot, but that being said,
I climb up the stairs to DK's room and I've had enough of climbing, dude. It's only one flight of stairs, dude. You climbed 19 mountains. La Montagne. Yeah, a lot. That's big achievements amongst skydiving and this and jumping out of a helicopter, which we now know landed in the water and not just jumping from the helicopter. No, you've achieved a lot and you should be proud of what you've achieved. And never, one thing that I've realized as well, for a lot of people who achieve things, they downsize their achievements to make other people A, to not sound arrogant, and B, to kind of not make people feel less superior or whatever, inferior.
لا, I just do not want to set the bar so high. You don't have to climb a mountain. That's what I'm trying to
Your
say.
fiance did that already, but it's done. The bar is set way up right now. It's done. It's finished. Again, thank you so much for coming, and inshallah we can do a lot more together. And I'll definitely do 117 kilometers.
I'm sure.
It's nothing to me. You ain't seen me in the Stairmaster
I
with
can't
my
wait.
leggings on in the gym.
I can't wait.
No, we'll do it. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I've been AJ, she's been Tima, and we'll see you next time. Boom.